This is the first part of the EnergyPlus assignment. On VLab, you can find EnergyPlus here, and then go to EP Launch. You're going to need to select the weather file that was provided. You should probably just put that on the desktop of the VLab to avoid any issues. There's been kind of an issue where if you have the weather file on your main computer and then try and access it through the VLab, there'll be an issue. And then you can also go and put the file that you made in the SketchUp assignment, or you can use the one that's provided. It's up to you. So this will also be provided. And then this Excel spreadsheet is everything that you need to input, and it's in order of how you need to input it. So before we start, go to View, Options, Miscellaneous, and then make sure this is checked. It by default is not checked. This just makes our outputs in inch pound. So we're going to go to this Edit IDF Editor, and there'll be an error, just ignore it. And then same thing, the first thing you want to do is make sure we're in inch pound for view. By default it's in SI. If you can if it also changes how you input variables. So basically the design days and the stuff that you have to input won't match if you do it in SI. So just make sure it's in inch pound before you start. Make sure the simulation control is like this. It should be. I just did the assignment and then exported the IDF and started from here. For site location, I just referenced the Excel spreadsheet. So just gonna input this. So I'll be doing one of each. Some of them will require more than one input, like the site location is only one site, so I'm going to do it once. For design day, just go down here, and there's two. There's a heating season and a cooling season design day. So you just go to New Object, and then this is set exactly how it is in EnergyPlus. It was copied directly over. So you can name this whatever you want. You don't have to name it that thing. It's just how it comes from EnergyPlus. So you have the day of month, the month, the day of month, the day type. You can just do summer design day. Notice that there are no spaces. So if you type it in, you have spaces. It won't run. There's a min max, and then but you can just type in the values. And yeah, this is basically just exactly as it is in the Excel spreadsheet. Oh, went down one too many. So now that we've done that, I'll just kind of explain a little bit how this works. So new object is just how you get a new object. Delete object deletes the one that's selected. Duplicate just copies it over, and then copy is a copy and paste is a paste. So pretty simple. This little asterisk up here by the name means you have not saved. When you click save, it'll do it. So you have to make sure you put in both of these. So once you do that, we're going to go to materials. There are quite a lot of materials, but there are already materials in here. So if you want to condense it, you can hit Control+L, and that'll remove anything that does not have an input. So if we expand out, we'll see, none of these, we'll find this one, this one, this one. This number refers to a number of different objects in each thing. So as you see, when we condense it down, those go away. So we're going to go to New Object, I'm just gonna do the first one. So roughness, you can do pull down through here, and then just type in the rest of the values. I included the R value for your convenience, but you do not need to input that. That's just kind of there was a version of this where we gave you the R value and you had to calculate the connectivity. But for this, just basically all you need to input are these values here. So these five values. So again, you do that for the rest of these values, and then you go to construction. They're already construction, so we're going to go and do a new object. And you don't need to input like air resistance values. EnergyPlus automatically calculates that for you. Obviously, I didn't input all of these, but this is just from the drop down. I would highly recommend using the drop down because you made a typing error and you type in the wrong value. It won't work. But let's see. I wonder if yeah. So if you made a typographical error, this will turn that color, and it means that this material doesn't exist. So that's why I recommend using the drop down value, and then when you pick that, it'll go away. So then we're going to go down to building surface detailed, and we're going to go to anything that is a wall and has a boundary condition of outdoors, and we're going to change the construction name to exterior wall. So just kind of, look at this. Okay, it's a wall, it's an outside boundary condition, and we're going to change this value. Now, now we see for here, this is an interior wall. And the interior wall is kind of interesting because, like, surface 6 says it matches to surface 10, and that would mean that surface 10 has to have the opposite interior wall construction to surface 6. So if you just change those all the way around, you'll get an error, and I'll show you how to kind of double check your work or work around some problems later. So just make sure you change anything, wall, outdoors, and then just change this to exterior wall. And then we're also going to make an exterior roof, and there's 2 of those because there's 2 zones on the top floor. So we have roof there, and then roof here. If we go further in, we'll see that it says ceiling. So don't change the ceilings, only change the roofs, because ceilings and floors work like matched surfaces. So once we do all that, we're going to go down to output variable. That will usually be blank, actually. So we're going to go and save, and we're going to click simulate. So it'll do this. Basically, if it does this, you're fine. And then you'll get this crash. That's just because of VLab thing. Just don't worry about it. So once you simulate it once, you want to go to output variable, and then click new object, and then site outdoor air dry bulb temperature. It's the very first one, and then zone mean air temperature. You can start typing it, and it'll bring you to that value. So that's an easy way to find it, and then save, and then simulate it again. Now the reason you have to simulate it twice is because EnergyPlus doesn't know what output variables are appropriate for each simulation. There's probably like millions of different output variables. So by simulating it once, it knows what possible output variables are there. Like if we'll notice here, there's no. If I type in error, like solver iteration count, but that's it. Like if we know with for the next homework when we make the HVAC system, there'll be a an air system thing. So it right now there's no HVAC, so it's not going to give us an option for any HVAC outputs. So that's why you need to simulate it twice. So if you're doing this and it's not working, click this button up here, errors, and look for severe errors. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do an example. I'm just gonna put this in here and leave it blank. Save and hit simulate, and we'll see how it just immediately crashes. Doesn't do that annual thing. If we go here to errors, we'll see severe error, and then fatal. So we go here, output variable 3, missing required property variable name. So output variable, okay, that's here, and then output variable, and then variable name. So that's right here, and we can see it's missing. If we delete, also, this is what it'll look like. If you get this blankness, that means that it doesn't know what the IDF is, or it doesn't know what your possible variables are. So that means that you're having an error. So just delete it, save it. I'm gonna close that, simulate it one more time, and then we see this, simulating, continuous simulation. It's going, almost done, and yeah, it says it's crashed, blah blah blah. And if you go to errors, you'll see a bunch of warnings. Just ignore them. They're probably because of the SketchUp interface. It brings in a bunch of junk that we don't care about, but it's easier to just ignore the warnings and delete everything that isn't important. And now we'll see if we go back to variables, that we'll have options again. So there you go.